What's up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. It is Wednesday, June 15th. The year is 2022. My name is Kyle Smith, and welcome in. I'm excited to have everyone here. Adam Carlson is here. How are you, sir?
It's a good day. Celebrating my cat's birthday. He's turned 20 today, so he's an old man now. And otherwise, I have no complaints.
Happy birthday, Mew. Kyle West is here. How are you, sir?
Doing good. I clicked the wrong intro this week. We got the ones that sounds like it's ready to put you to sleep for this week's episode, but that's okay. Smith, I got to give you shit. What are you drinking out of?
Oh, it's my mom's favorite cup, man.
Oh, okay. Well, that's acceptable. All I seen was
you know what?
I seen the Panthers logo, and I'm like, what?
Well, in all honesty, though, she was the only one that was loyal to the place that we live. Because this family was just all over the map. We got two AFC Wests and an NFC North fan, but we could always come together and talk shit about the Panthers because they're not good.
I like the way you did that. You weren't going to say what team you liked because of the fandom change. You just stuck to the division. I like that.
Correct. And my dad and my brother get to argue all the time. My dad, he's going to be 60 next year. He's been a diehard Chiefs fan forever. Obviously, he has bragging rights to be like, dude, the Panthers were not a thought for years when I was watching it. My brother always liked Phillip Rivers. There's a North Carolina tie there. I'm just the oddball. I'm just, hey, cool. Let me join this masochist society and love pain all the time. I don't fucking know. But we're here. And yes, Charlotte, you are right. Jonathan and Charlotte are here. Thank you, guys. They are never good. And I am really excited that they still have Sam Darnold as their quarterback.
Yeah, but Steve Smith was a lot of fun to watch back in the day.
Steve Smith was a baller. Yeah. I really liked Thomas Davis. Luke Kuechly was great for a while. And
right. Oh, I forgot
Cam.
about him.
The height of Cam was really good too, but
yeah,
God, they know how to botch some stuff. I think Robbie Anderson has been on Twitter and Instagram saying he might just retire because he doesn't want to play with Sam Darnold anymore.
Oh,
it's bad. Whew. I was eating pizza tonight too, and this is not Vikings related, but I was watching the local news, and their deal fell through. They were going to go about 30 miles south of here in Fort Mill area in South Carolina, and David Tepper, the owner, the billionaire, the plans fell through because they can't come to an agreement. So, like, they don't know what the hell they're doing, where they're going to build a new stadium, and that defines the Panthers that I know. I love the games are fun, but yeah,
maybe they'll get relocated to London. Maybe that'll be the London Panthers. There you go.
London Silly Nannies, or what is it called? Silly Nannies?
Silly Nannies. Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah, just ship Jacksonville over there. That's fine. We don't need them.
Get a team back in St. Louis.
It's a good one.
Has nothing to do with the Vikings right now.
Yeah, we've straightened out the 3.5 minutes of not talking about the Vikings at all, but that's fine. This is episode number 482. Shake your money, Baker, because the Twitter machine, I think he's going to Carolina. That's one of the things I've seen on Pat McAfee and other places. But for some reason, someone in Twitterland said, ESPN's Dan Graziano thinks that maybe next season, not this year, obviously, next season, which is really weird because Kirk was extended for 2 years, that Baker Mayfield could come over to the Vikings to be the starting quarterback. And I don't see it. I feel like with the new regime, first of all, you're not upgrading. Secondly, why would you do that? He's only getting older. He's not that old, but point being, he's already got some injuries. Wouldn't you just go to the draft and get a cheap option?
Yeah.
That's kind of it, right?
It's a smart thing to do. I thought we were kind of moved past the Baker Mayfield thing. I know that was a bigger off-season story from a couple months back, and I came onto the show a little late before we started recording, and you guys were talking about Baker, and I'm like, what? Why are we discussing Baker Mayfield again? So I really don't know where these rumors came from. It doesn't make any sense to me. I like Baker. I'm actually rooting for him. I want to see him do well. I think Cleveland kind of did him dirty, but at best, I mean, he's not an upgrade over Kirk. Best case, he's like a side grade. You know what I mean? Where you're replacing one quarterback for another quarterback of equal value. So I really don't know what you're coming up with. And
well, I don't think we've seen Baker's ceiling, but I don't think we've seen Kirk's ceiling either.
Both solid points. I agree with both of you.
We're in off season. I'm optimistic. I'm excited for Kirk. I think he's going to do good in this offense.
I think Kirk could command an offense better, but I do think the things I'll talk about the positives. I think Baker Mayfield is one of the players you would label as a dog. He's undersized. Coming out of college, he had a big chip on his shoulder, even though he's a first-round pick. He's on the sideline, and I'll give it to him. He didn't provoke this team. They wouldn't shake his hand. So he went out there and beat the dog shit out of him, which I love.
Yeah.
He's played through injury. I like the grittiness of him. He is nowhere near a Brett Favre, but he has that kind of heart where he's like, I'm going to play through whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I just put it plain and simple. I think Kirk's more accurate. I think we obviously know he's more mature. And I agree with Jonathan. I don't think he's a fit for this team, but a team like Seattle, if you really are going to sit there and tell me you're going to trot Drew Lock out there for a year, you're an idiot. I don't know at this point what you guys think. I know he's better than anybody in Carolina right now, but I don't know that Jameis Winston's better than he is. I think he's better than Jameis, and New Orleans would have been a great fit, but I think they're rolling with Jameis. So
I don't know if Seattle's throwing this season or what.
They have to be, right? You can't really trust in Drew Lock.
Why would Pete Carroll want to stick around at his age when he's probably only got a couple more seasons left to put up with that mess? Like,
I don't know.
I know it's rare, but you can trade a coach. Like, you can't tell me one of these teams wouldn't want to trade for Pete Carroll and bring him in and try to win now.
But there is one area where Baker Mayfield absolutely blows Kirk Cousins out of the water.
TV commercials?
Endorsements.
Yeah.
Baker's got Hulu, and Hulu's good stuff.
Well, we all can agree on this too. We're not even going to go down that rabbit hole, but I think it's good karma too that he told the Browns to go F off, because when they go out and they do what they did to him with Deshaun Watson and how that's unraveling, Jacoby Brissett's going to be the quarterback of the Browns this season. And I think that's just hilarious. And I feel bad for a guy like Kevin Stefanski, because he had a chance to be a good coach, but he had to sign off on that too. So
right. That's why I don't. I mean, whatever.
You know what Baker could do is go to a major, this is a far stretch. Go to a team like Mitch Trubisky did. Go behind a superstar for a year and see if you can't take over. Like Aaron Rodgers probably has 1 year left. Go to Green Bay. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You get another first-round pick. He's got potential. You know he can win you games. But it goes back to, and we'll get off the Cleveland train, but I don't understand why this team, you found a guy who's a dog who actually wants to be there. He's kind of cool, young, fits in with a younger crowd, can connect with younger fans. He gives you the first winning season you've had in this millennium, I think.
Beat the Steelers. I mean, come on.
Or this century, I mean. And I'm like, why would you not want to keep the guy? It's mind-boggling, but it's another reason where if you feel bad because you're a Viking fan, you can breathe a little bit easier because we're not the Texans, we're not the Browns, we're not the Lions, we're not the Jaguars, so we're not the worst, we're not the Jets.
Yeah, and to make this a little Vikings related, we can as Vikings fans relate a little bit with Cleveland here, where they've been stuck in quarterback purgatory for about as long as what Minnesota has. Like, we've had spurts for, hey, we get a year of Brett Favre, or we got Teddy for a little bit who looked okay, that they kind of helped even us out a little bit. But man, we haven't had much luck in that department either, with the Ponder years and the Josh Freeman and all that mess that went on. That's why I'm perfectly okay with sticking with Kirk Cousins, because we know what the other side of that coin looks like, and I am not ready to go back to that yet. I think that you continue to stick with Kirk. He's a veteran. You're going to win with him. Eventually, you'll draft and develop a quarterback not named Kellen Mond who will step in and be that successor.
Well, we do have a lot of question marks, too, surrounding Kirk Cousins, because he, once again, has a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach and probably a new blocking scheme in front of him. And it's all going to be very new routes, new terminology. It's going to be strange to see.
I think exciting is the word that I'm looking for. I think it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's great if they can figure it out in time. But they still haven't got to training camp yet, so they got a while, and they're not going to report to that for a couple of weeks. But Jonathan asks, who said the Vikings are going to double our wins this year? That was Colin Cowherd, and I completely disagree with him. No. I love you to death, but it's very rare that first-year head coach comes in, installs a new offense, has a completely different defense. Yeah, we're just going to go 16-1. I would love that to happen. That means they'll probably be the 1 seed.
I think he believed that Minnesota won fewer games than they did last year. Mm-hmm. I think he was just trying to say they're going to be significantly better. but I don't think the right words came out of his mouth.
Right. And I'll give him credit. I watched the guy. I think he's more of the boomer side of the spectrum. He has a lot of weird takes, like the Baker stuff, for instance. He didn't like him because he has a backwards hat. I think that's really stupid. But, he's always been optimistic for the Vikings. And I appreciate that. Somebody having optimism, because it feels like every year we get written off as a fan base and a team. Well, they're just not going to figure it out. Eventually it's going to click, but.
Well, they could always just put the Vikings head coach at dead last among NFL coaches.
Here it is.
Oh.
That was wild.
That was
Pro Football Network, huh? Last place. By the way, I still don't really know who Pro Football Network is, but whoever's doing their marketing is doing a good job because they're getting people talking about them.
Well, they're going off the first two.
It was them before I showed that article. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You were?
I don't think I was here 2 weeks ago. What article are we talking about?
Pro Football Network had another article ranking Viking stuff.
There were also the one that something about the cornerback rankings, and it was a really weird metric.
That's the one.
Broke down with it. Yeah. Yep.
I remember you guys talking about this in the chat. It was very hard to dissect and to read. Not a fan. Plus, Pro Football Focus is what we think about. We don't think about Pro Football Network. You got to change the name and be more creative than that. Come on now.
The Sports Authority Network.
Oh my God. That's a throwback. Throwback on this show.
Way back. Way back.
Yeah, but to Adam's point, he's talking about this Pro Football Network article. They have Kevin O'Connell asked, and it was basically like, hey, this guy's a question mark. We don't know. But they have the Bears brand new head coach above Kevin O'Connell. And I said that in the chat. I was like, at least Kevin O'Connell just won a ring as an offensive coordinator. That's kind of a big deal. And this guy was the defensive coordinator of the Colts.
I would understand it if their explanation was, okay, he's coming off a Super Bowl winning season, but we're attributing a lot of that to Sean McVay and his creativity. And so the question mark is we don't know how much of that was McVay and how much of that was Kevin O'Connell. I would be like, okay, I understand that a little bit. It was not worded like that.
No. It definitely wasn't. That surprised me that they didn't take that approach, and that they have a coach that I would say really disappointed last year in Chicago because he had a lot of talent on that roster, and they weren't able to accomplish almost anything. And there were games where he had Khalil Mack on his team, and Mack was kind of schemed out of plays.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson couldn't find ways to get him the ball. When your quarterback's passing for what? Didn't he have a game where he passed for like 30 yards, Justin Fields?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, come on.
I never understood the hype there, too, with Nagy. I don't understand it. Like, oh, he's an Andy Reid guy. Yeah, Matt, whatever his name, went to Detroit, and he was terrible. The Josh McDaniels experiment went through. He won a playoff game with Tebow, but he was really bad outside of that. So it's like, oh, he's this guy. Cool. What does that mean, I'm glad he's gone, but that was really weird to bring it back to the Vikings. I don't know why you would put a defensive coordinator for a non-playoff team. Now, granted, the Colts defense, pretty solid, pretty consistent the last couple of years. But I don't know how you put a guy who's just been in D.C., didn't make the playoffs, to the offensive coordinator that just won a ring. I think he had a good percentage of that to be like, and the thing that you showed us, Adam, the guy said had nothing negative to say about him. It was basically like, I don't know, so he's going last. It's like,
do your homework, author.
Maybe don't be so fucking lazy.
Make a projection, figure out, anticipate, scale, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're going to post an article about opinions, put opinions in there.
We can't do that, Adam. Let's calm down just a little bit.
There is a lot of question marks surrounding this team. With
absolutely
everything that we've discussed. You guys know offense, defense, new schemes, coordinators, everything. And we're going to know a little bit more when we get to training camp and preseason. But I feel like this team is going to try to hold their cards as close to the deck as possible for what they're going to do. And we won't see the full offense until we're at week 1 of the regular season. And then we're going to finally know how they plan on using Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and Daniil Hunter and all the other pieces and parts on this team.
But the hype is at an all-time high already. I mean, you're hearing
Yeah.
players come out and saying, we're loving this new offense. The passing game should be much improved. We got some good ideas, good stuff like that. And right now it's all positive, all rainbows, all unicorns. Everything's great, but
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how it really works out.
I'm smiling over here. I'm texting and I'm looking at my notifications while you guys talk. Shout out to my buddy Dave out in Nashville. He's a huge Eagles fan, good buddy of mine, good canine handler. And he said, our Nashville crew, you guys know I used to live there. Somebody tagged me in a John Randall video that came out yesterday on NFL like Network or whatever, throwback, when he's talking shit to Steve Young and all those guys. He's like, here's your boy. And it was like, it's crazy that he was undrafted, 137 and a half sacks. And
Right?
my buddy Dave chimes in. He goes, holy shit, he was undrafted. I was like, sir, he was a defensive tackle, not a defensive end. And he just replied, he's like, what the fuck?
He's not one of those Eagles fans that throws batteries at little girls and tells old ladies he wishes they died. He's not one of them, is he?
No. He's one of the ones that relishes in the fact that they beat the Patriots and really enjoys that victory on that side of it. So I was like,
Do you remember that F. Millie stuff? That was wild.
I will never forget it, and I don't know which fan base I hated more. I hated Sean Payton and Greg, whatever his name was from
Williams. Yeah,
the individuals, but those Philly fans are brutal. They ate
Greg
horse shit
Williams is
after
getting
the
to
win.
coach in the XFL or something like that now, right?
Yeah. Defensive coordinator position.
Don't like that.
In the
Don't
XFL.
like that at all. No,
You'll get bounties going.
Oh boy.
no, he's a good guy, man. It's just fun to like
Who, Greg
let other
Williams?
people see that. No, damn it, Kyle. That was funny. I can't not laugh at the joke. Damn it, that was funny. Speaking of good guys, I would like to add in this cool article from the Viking Age too. The Vikings have added a linebacker to their 2022 defense. We will see if he makes the team. But Monday, the Vikings announced they have agreed to a contract with linebacker Andre Mintz, formerly of the Broncos. So Ed Donatel getting it going. I don't know what he's going to do because I've seen on Twitter like, hey, what's Anthony Barr doing? And I'm like, probably not coming back to the Vikings. That's the answer.
But there have been videos and pictures coming out of both Anthony Barr and Linval Joseph working out in Minnesota Vikings gear.
That's wild.
They're shooting their
So
shot.
they still have that purple and gold in their hearts somewhere. Either
You know
that
who
or
I
they
wish-
have a lot of gear left over from their time here.
You know who I
I-
wish would do that and be caught working out in Minnesota and come back? Case Keenum. Fuck you,
Oh,
Sean
boy.
Mannion. How about that?
I'd
Bring-
take Case as a backup over
Bring
Sean
that
Mannion.
bring the case back as a backup. Let's go.
But how is Case in meetings?
Oh, I don't care. I don't. He could blow spit wads and do paper footballs. I don't care. He always got to do his miracle next. What have you done, Sean? Oh wait, you're not here anymore. Ugh, I hate him so much.
He threw a touchdown.
Yeah. You know who else is throwing a touchdown? Derrick Henry. Let's see. Yeah, they're talking about. I'm reading your counterpart Adam Patrick's article here. Nate Hairston was the first to make the follow from the Broncos of the Vikings earlier this year, which is cool. Austin Schlottman, but now they've added another Broncos defender, and I don't know what his chances are of being the team, but he didn't get a lot of playing time. It says 64 snaps on defense, 69 on special teams. Nice. But he is 6'3", 249-pound linebacker. So we'll see. Linebacker.
The surprising one for me is Gabe Burchich was released by the Vikings, and
He's
then
picked up by Green Bay.
Here we
right
go.
up by Green
Yep.
Bay.
Here we go. They found their next kicker for the next decade.
Oh boy!
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, I hate it.
And then Minnesota Vikings legend Chad Beebe signing with the Texans.
good for him. Let's talk about that because we were talking about this in our personal chat, and I'll set you guys up for it. But what always happens when someone that the Vikings fan base didn't really care for goes to another team? What always happens, guys?
Oh, they get pooped all over.
God, people are so brutal to them. It's so mean.
Chad Beebe
It's not
was
good
the
luck to
next-
Chad Beebe in Houston.
Yeah.
It's not thank you for your time. It's not you gave us some great plays. It's well, that guy was trash anyway.
Yeah. But when he was on the roster, he was the next diamond in the rough.
Oh
The
yeah,
next
next Adam Thielen.
Next Adam Thielen. next Chris Carter. Oh, we got to keep him on the roster. That Chad Beebe, son of Don Beebe, that, let's be honest, none of us.
And if you've
have
ever
heard
hung
of.
out in our Discord during games, I'm sure you've seen the Kevin Malone broccoli meme attributed with with Chad Beebe. Like people try to force feed Chad Beebe to Vikings fans.
Yeah.
I don't understand the negativity there. The guy's done nothing wrong. And I remember a freaking amazing, like, it's one of those touchdowns where somebody floats in the air for a couple of minutes. And you're like, oh my God, he's going to, and he power bombed himself pretty much, or choke slammed himself one, landed right on his back. But I think it was against Detroit. And he caught a touchdown. And I was like, good for you, man. Because
I don't think it was Detroit, but it was a redemption game because he had just muffed the punt.
Yes, yeah. And he bounced back with a touchdown, and I remember that specifically. That might be the only highlight that I remember him.
I definitely remember that because that's the first time I've ever given a game ball and a donkey to the same player on an episode. Chad Beebe got both of them for that series.
That's amazing. We don't have anything negative to say, dude. Like,
no,
it is what it is.
As a matter of fact, I hope he's successful.
I do too. And the part of it is we've talked about this hundreds of times on the show, but we have to mention these guys' playing careers, like he's past his window of what he should have been. So the fact that it's going longer and he's going to make money that'll probably set him up to at least get a huge house or pay off those debts or put something away, like, dude, good for you. Keep doing it and make your way to New England. They'll figure out a place for a small white guy to get in there and catch some balls. Get up there and call Bill Belichick, man.
I was going to say, that's a good spot for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chad Beebe goes to the Texans, if you guys didn't know. So, hey, good for you, Chad. We're happy for you. We support you.
You know what?
Here.
I know Adam agrees with me on this one, too. I always like to see former Vikings players do well when they're not on the team.
I wouldn't say always.
Just not against Minnesota. Well, unless
there's a few exceptions.
Darren Sharper or something. But.
Well, I don't wish good things on him.
Yeah. This kicker that had nothing to do with himself getting cut, but I hope he does terrible in Green Bay. We'll start with him.
Yeah. But like Percy Harvin, there's a good example. I was always a really big Percy Harvin fan. And so when he wasn't in Minnesota, I always wanted to see him do well. And like, I wish if his career would have came a few years later, he fit so well with how NFL offenses are geared now. He would be an absolute, even more of a stud than what Percy was back then. It's a shame that the Vikings weren't forward thinking enough to understand where the league was going, because they could have used him. They could have used him just like the Rams used their receiver.
Well, I want to say one more thing about Chad Beebe before we move on.
Go ahead.
I loved that Chad Beebe was so willing to try so many different things, whether it was as a receiver, a punt returner, cover guy on special teams, whatever they asked him to. They asked him to hold, and he tried holding.
Yeah.
He did anything that was asked of him, and he didn't seem to complain one bit, never heard a peep from him. That, to me, is the kind of guy you want on your roster, and you want him to develop and turn into a real contributor. So I got to give him credit there, because that's awesome.
I also would say to your Percy Harvin comment, Kyle, he was what Tavon Austin wished that he would have turned into.
Yeah.
And it was around the same time frame. I hate that the migraines had a big deal. Injuries are injuries no matter what they are. But, yeah, he was a fun player and that magical.
Percy, he was a stud. And if he could have stayed healthy, he would have been just dominant in the league.
His weight throwing arm was good.
It sure was.
Ooh, at a player's coach of all people. That's so funny. It's not, but
Did he throw it at Frazier or?
I want to say
I thought he threw it at Leslie Frazier.
I don't remember.
Let's see. I need to figure this out.
I need to know this now too, because if it's Brad Childress, I'm on his.
I don't see how anyone could get mad at Leslie, because he was a coach.
December 20th, 2012, Vikings Percy Harvin, Leslie Frazier reportedly clashed.
Oh boy, it was Leslie, huh?
Oh, that was the AP year.
It was.
Man. Ooh, yeah, how could you clash with Leslie Frazier?
Yeah.
What's up? Hey, by the way, what's up, Cliff? Thanks for joining us. My grain games were great. Yeah, he was good for a little bit for us.
Didn't Percy say that he used to smoke weed before every game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Legend. Vikings legend Percy Harvin.
I don't hate him for it. If that helps you feel better, go for it, man. Anyways, that's in conversation for another day. Let's get into this article that our own Adam Carlson wrote 3 days ago on the Viking Age, because this is something we can kind of gear up for. We won't call this the dead part of the offseason, but it comes in waves. We got to ride the roller coaster before training camp. Mini camp is over, so Here we go. 6 biggest battles heading into Vikings 2022 training camp. Adam, I will let you take the wheel, but starting off, wide receiver number 4. If you remember from your article, if you want to tell us.
Well, you have it in front of you, so you might as well read it.
I didn't want to steal it from you. I was going to try to set you up for that. Amir Smith-Marset, who is currently injured, versus BC Johnson versus Jalen Naylor.
Now, I did get a little bit of flack about this one because I was told that I did not include Albert Wilson, who deserved to be included there, but I am not sure about them bringing him in and making him 4. I mean, the other two already have experience in Minnesota as a number 4. You got a new guy coming in, just elite top-level speed, and a guy that could plug in a lot of different places, really young, wants him to develop. So, I don't know. To me, I didn't see a spot for him in there, and I honestly, when I put together a 53, I don't think I'm going to include him either. So, I mean, that's just me.
I have Naylor at 4, BC at 5, and then if they keep 6, the veteran that you just mentioned, Smith, Albert, what's his name? Albert
Wilson,
thank you. That's how I have it shaken out.
No Smith-Marset, huh?
Oh, shoot, Smith-Marset. Yeah, sorry, let me flip that then. Smith-Marset, BC Johnson, then Smith-Marset.
Okay.
Nice.
I forgot because he's kind of injured right now. So.
Yeah, he is on hold at the
moment. We're assuming and hoping that Justin Jefferson makes the team. We'll let you know if the Vikings let him go.
Yeah, the top 3 should kind of be in place, although we're kind of assuming a lot with KJ Osborne that he's going to outplay everyone and keep that wide receiver 3 spot. But I've liked what I've seen enough to not think he's going to get leapfrogged.
He took a major jump from year 1 to year 2. Mm-hmm. I think with the offensive mind that's in here and just the leg up he's going to have on some of these younger guys, and then Smith-Marset getting injured. I mean, it's his not the position. It's his spot to lose in the depth chart. So I think you're right. We'll see. What's up, Michael? Thanks for joining us. KJ could play middle linebacker. Is he that big? He doesn't. I don't feel like he looks that big. I had to see what his stats are, but yes. Camp battle number 1, wide receiver number 4. So we'll see who's going to round it out. But the Vikings slowly have crept back into having a pretty good and deep wide receiver room. There are
they were worried about number 4 instead of number 3 like the years previous.
Right, number 1.
Yeah,
well, number 1's been a while since we didn't know. Well, I guess when you had who's going to be number 1, this guy or that guy, is it Adam Thielen or Greg Jennings?
You had your Bernard Berrien. Sidney Rice, everyone's hurt. Don't know what depth is.
Michael Jenkins,
Molasses Mike. Yeah.
What was that one guy? Jerome Simpson. He never scored any touchdowns, but he always got the most yards off of PI. He was wonderful.
Celebrate him every time. I like that. Every time. Pass interference. Boom.
Cliff Tangs is not middle linebacker. Major League Baseball. He's referring to the softball game. I'm an idiot. 2 minutes for me. Penalty box. I'm out of here.
Well, he's out here talking baseball in a football chat. That's on him.
To be fair, I thought middle linebacker too.
Thank you. Never mind, Cliff. 2 minutes penalty box. They did it, not me. Camp battle number 2, according to Adam Carlson, is tight end number 2. Now, Irv Smith did have the ACL tear, but he's back. He's been running around at camp, mini camp, and everything we're hearing is fine. So, is it going to be Johnny Munt or Ben Ellefson?
I got crap on this one too because people said, "Why didn't you include what was his name? Zach Davidson?"
Sure, sounds good.
And it's like, I get that people want Zach Davidson to be a good tight end. He's got crazy good height, but he is so new to playing tight end that he's going to need a lot of time to develop.
Oh, that's the super tall guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I get the hype and the excitement around him, but I don't see him being a tight end 2, maybe 3. If for some reason they keep a tight end 4, I mean, possibly, but honestly, I see the Vikings only keeping 2, possibly 3, because they've already talked about sliding CJ Ham out from fullback over to tight end at times. So, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of room for tight ends. Plus, this position group is arguably the weakest on the team.
Well, let's talk about this too, Adam, to back up your point. I don't understand how people could give you crap for that. You really think a guy's going to come in that just started learning the position, 2 years ago, and he's going to be as good as Tyler Conklin? Are you shitting me? No way.
Well, to be fair, Johnny Munt, we know nothing about this guy.
Yeah,
or at least I know nothing.
Yeah, he came from the Rams. That's it. That's all we know.
And
Ben
then
Ellison,
the other guy's just a blocker. I saw him last year, and he was just out there doing his blocking thing. So
he's got the best chance, in my opinion. And it looks like is that what you said here? Blocking is what they're looking for. Then Ben Ellison will likely be the man. I mean, he was already on the team. I mean, he's got the most experience. I mean,
with the news change in personnel, you got to earn your spot again.
Much, yeah.
I agree with you. That's all we've got to go on. So to Adam's
it's a wide open race, and we have no idea what they're looking for.
Clifford Tang asks, do you think Kirk uses Quizlet or old-fashioned cards? He's an old-fashioned cards guy for sure.
He pulls the Teddy and inputs all the moves into Madden.
Quizlet is really good, though. Shout out to Quizlet. They got me promoted in the military. That's a lot of fun. Ooh, here's a good one. Probably my favorite battle. Number 3 right here. Right guard, Jesse Davis versus Wyatt Davis versus Ed Ingram.
Which Ed Ingram technically not a Viking yet.
Yeah, still hasn't signed that rookie contract, which is weird, I guess, but I'm sure he'll get there.
It's starting to get a little concerning.
Assuming he's on the roster, yeah, have to figure that's Ed Ingram's spot to lose.
He is a monster of a blocker.
Yes. Wyatt Davis, I don't know.
We've seen him be a good blocker in college too, but again, we haven't seen anything from him since he got to the pros. He was held out, didn't play much offensive at all. I think he was relegated to special teams at best. And again, we know nothing of him at the pro.
We don't know anything about Wyatt Davis, and I don't know if this injury is going to hold him back. He did play a little bit last year, but the offensive line was not anything to brag about in those areas in the middle. It says here from Adam's article, Jesse Davis is on his 4th team since becoming an undrafted free agent with the Seahawks in 2015. He has 72 starts in 80 games, which makes him the man to beat, Adam says, thanks to his experience. But I don't know, man. Everything we saw about Ed Ingram, he is just nasty.
It's nice to have a floor of a player with starting experience. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But you want players that are not only going to give you a high floor, but that high ceiling.
You mean you don't want Dakota Dozier?
Step in and do it.
You don't want Dakota Dozier starting at right guard for you?
But
no.
Here's the thing, though, is that's what the Vikings are kind of doing a better job of, I think, and compared to the previous administration, of bringing in some veteran players who are that floor. When before, okay, you have your starter and then an absolute cliff that you fall off if they go down. So I do like some of the veteran receivers and linemen.
And I feel like that's what the Albert Wilson signing was, too. It was to establish a floor.
Yeah, correct. It's like you have to be able to beat him out to make this roster. And he's an established.
Yeah, he's established as an NFL veteran.
Well, yeah.
The next one's very good. Punter and holder, Jordan Berry versus Ryan Wright. I'm going to be honest with you, Adam. I didn't know who and what a Ryan Wright is.
Oh, did you love those photos when you Googled Ryan Wright?
I didn't. I'm just looking on the Viking. I have it pulled off to the side.
Because he is one big boy who loves kicking a football.
A big-bodied punter from Adam Carlson on the Viking age. Ryan Wright joined the Vikings as undrafted free agent out of Tulane. He averaged 47.5 yards on 51 punts. Will be interesting to see if they can get more out of him. I need to look. Let's look him up.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Wright punter.
You got to put a picture up on the screen if you can.
I absolutely will. Let me find a good one. Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
No way.
Uh-huh.
No way.
I'm pulling for him.
All right. Where's this picture at?
Yeah, he's an interesting fella.
6'3", 245. Oh, my goodness. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see this guy. Oh, wow. Man. Oh, come on. Sorry, guys. I'm going to try to figure this out.
That's all right. No worries.
Permission to capture your screen. Well, you suck.
This punting competition, it's not like you have a bad punter in place right now. And interrupting the holding might not be the best thing to do. But, I mean, the job is still open. You got to beat out the guy that's currently in place. And for them to bring in an undrafted free agent and hold on to him long after they've even gotten rid of the other kicker, I mean, it already says a lot for the competition at that point.
Here, if you guys want to check in the chat, I'm going to copy it and put it in here in our comments. They're going to do like an auto scroll, kind of like it's kind of like a movie that's playing every 10 seconds. The photo comes up. That's a big boy. Woo! I'd like to know what I need to find his stats too to see what he ran at its combine. That's wild. Anyways, that would be cool. I didn't know that was a thing. Now I'm excited again. This is cool.
Well, we like versatile players, so he can play backup defensive lineman at that size.
Here's a good one. Punt returner, KJ Osborne versus Amir Smith-Marset versus pretty much everyone else.
We have no idea who this is going to be.
That's wild.
Not a clue.
But we know kicker and return is all set. Kenny Nwangwu was absolutely one of the studs when it came to kick returning in the NFL last year. If he would have played the whole season as kick returner, he probably would have gotten an all-pro nod.
Mm-hmm.
But because he didn't play the whole year doing that, it's not his job. But I was worried last year when Minnesota moved on from Amir Abdullah at kick return. They're like, oh, well, we like what this guy does. We're going to plug him in. I'm like, oh, no, this is never good. It never turns out good. And then Kenny just came out and looked really, really good. And I'm excited to see him return kicks more. But it still leaves us with that opening at punt return. And there's going to be a lot of bodies trying this out in camp. A lot of them. And we have no idea who's going to be the winner.
And they've got some speedy guys out there, too.
A lot of speed.
Yeah.
A lot of guys with good hands, too. But catching a punt is not the same as catching a pass, that's for sure.
It's not. This is great. You brought up Kenny Nwangwu. We're talking about the tight ends being probably the weakest position on any part of the team. I think the running backs are the strongest, man. We just added a kid from North Carolina. Alexander Madison is still here. I keep
reading that Minnesota is so deep that fans want people to trade Madison, and I'm not there yet.
Mm-mm.
But I get it because it is such a deep unit. But I'm not there.
Not yet. Maybe next year, and maybe he'll want to get paid. But keep him around. He fits very well. Thank you, Jonathan. We love you guys too. You and Charlotte are great. Thank you for always joining us. The last battle that we're going to talk about here from the Viking Age and our own Adam Carlson. And I love this battle, but I think I know the answer already. Cameron Dantzler versus Andrew Booth Jr. for cornerback number 2, opposite of Patrick Peterson. I think Andrew Booth wins this job. Not that I don't like Cameron Dantzler, but I've watched some highlights of Andrew Booth, and he is aggressive.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that that Dantzler might not be a starter in this defense because he kind of feels like the guy who's been consistent there the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing Patrick Peterson back, I know a lot of people aren't as excited about him as they might be, that he's lost some steps, he's getting older. I get all that, but he's still going to be this team's number 1 cornerback.
Hey, you know what we said before the season started last year and he signed with us? We just need him to be 80% of what he was.
Yeah.
And he was. That's cool. Now I just need you to be 75% of what you were.
Now, if the Vikings can establish a pass rush and be able to contain the middle of the field, these cornerbacks might be able to feast, and it would be nice to be able to see some interceptions because last year we didn't get a lot of interceptions from the cornerbacks. No offense to Bashad Breeland.
Guy who talks about himself in the third person and talks about his wiener on the internet. I love that guy. Oh, that was a fun time. But yeah, I agree. I want to see Cameron Dantzler stay on the team. I think that he's got a good.
He will.
Good fan base. I'm worried about it going forward that he might want to try to go somewhere else to start, but he fits well here, and he's had some pass breakups. Got his first interception last year, so I like the kid. He just needs to be more consistent. But it's just me personally. Everything I've seen from Andrew Booth in the highlights, good.
Booth might need some time to develop. I mean, we've talked about it before on the show a lot. These cornerbacks that come from college definitely need time to change to the NFL level because it's a completely different game at cornerback between the college level and the NFL level. I mean, the flags that come down in the pro level compared to college is just mind-blowing, the difference. A little tug in college doesn't get you nothing, but it'll net you a flag every time in the NFL.
And the talent level, even your third and fourth string receivers on an NFL team would be your starting receivers for a lot of college teams.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Well, he's got some good competition in this wide receiver room to try to welcome to the NFL. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that we have 3 corners that we're feeling pretty good about, or at least I am. I like that there's that depth there. Are those players underneath those 3 that you wish there was a little bit more, but for this team rebuilding the way it was and how this team couldn't seem to keep a cornerback on the roster for the life of them, I mean, you kind of got to rebuild with what you got. And they went from, boy, this unit is scary, to re-signing Patrick Peterson, to drafting Booth, to just bring in the guy from Green Bay.
I like him a lot too. He could play the nickel. That's fine. Like you said, with the ceiling, if the ceiling is I was a starter on another team, I'm sorry, the floor, that's cool. That's a good place to start. I feel more comfortable. We didn't make major strides in the cornerback room, but I think it's definitely improved. Now,
what's funny is when I wrote that article and I was looking at the depth at each position, it's like there aren't a lot of spots on this team as far as starting spots that are up for grabs. And I debated putting a defensive end one on there for the front in that 3-4. But I couldn't bring myself, when I was looking at it, to honestly put up competition for Armon Watts.
Yeah, that's fair. I've heard good things coming.
Because our lads, I believe, had Jalen Twyman as penciled in as a starter. And I'm like, I love the kid, but I don't think Twyman's going to be a starter this year.
No.
We're rooting for you, Jalen. If you ever listen to this, we don't not like
you.
Oh,
absolutely. I would love to see him succeed, but I don't think it's going to be quite right yet.
Cliff, you missed it. We were talking shit about Cleveland and all the purgatory there and earlier. That's why I named the show after. You missed the start of it, but the rumors of Baker Mayfield possibly replacing Kirk Cousins starting next year, which makes no sense. So yeah, we talked about that. We didn't even consider about Deshaun Watson being a Viking. It's just we were just making fun of the Browns.
Oh yeah.
He said, I heard Sean and Kirk share the same bar of soap. That's disturbing, and I think you're right. I could see that.
They definitely write with the same pen.
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't have anything else brought up here to talk about on the show, but Adam did have a cool idea.
Let's close with a nice little segment here. We're going to play overrated, underrated. I'm going to name a player, and you're going to tell me whether they're overrated or underrated. There is no perfectly rated, so don't try that weak stuff. They're either underrated or overrated.
Just Vikings players?
Well, I got one that's not a Vikings player, but we'll get there.
Tim Tebow.
So first, Brett Favre as a Viking.
Well, you're going to make
overrated.
You're going to make me pick overrated.
Yep.
Why are you guys saying overrated?
Because that second season was awful. It was so bad. And if we're going to be technical about it, Kirk Cousins had the same stats in the same amount of games from that season we used to drool over. So,
yeah.
But let's be fair. I said this a couple of shows ago. That defense we have now on that team would have dragged that team's win total down to 10 at least, because the defense was not good last year. But yeah, it's gotta be overrated.
All right, here's one you can kind of go the other way on a little bit if you want to, but again, there's that touch overrated. So let's talk about Chester Taylor as a Viking.
Oh, he's underrated as fuck. Chester Taylor would have been a fine starter for Minnesota had we not drafted Adrian Peterson. He was just coming off that 1,000-yard season for the Vikings when they took AP. I think he's underrated.
Smith's over there doing some quick research.
No, I'm texting. Ah, man. And I don't remember what year he got drafted. He wasn't far before Adrian Peterson, but that's hard being overshadowed. But based on his time as a Viking, I would say under. It's hard to say now. Hindsight's 2020. Well, Adrian Peterson was an MVP and he has a single game rushing, but he was fine for where the running back position was.
We bring this up all the time. The Vikings didn't need Adrian Peterson when they drafted him. It was not a position to need. Chester Taylor, and I forget who was underneath him, but the Vikings running back group was set. Turns out
True.
Adrian Peterson's a pretty darn good player.
Yeah, he ended up being pretty good.
He ended up being a pretty good pick for the Vikings. But yeah, Chester Taylor, underrated Minnesota Viking. I like that, Adam.
You know, Adam said don't do perfectly rated. I would just do incomplete because I don't know. He had that one taken from a probably future Hall of Famer. So that sucks for him. But yeah,
well,
I like
we're going back to that Brett Favre era of Vikings for this one. And Sidney Rice.
Overrated.
Yeah, I'd have to pick overrated with that one. I'm a big Sidney Rice fan, but the discussion was always, can he stay healthy? And the answer was always no.
And he was never as productive as he was when he didn't have Brett Favre throwing him the football.
I feel for him on that.
Correct.
He had to have been pissed after that season to never have that kind of quarterback play again.
Oh, yeah, it had to have been frustrating. But people will remember that amazing season he had where he looked like a wide receiver one. He was making unbelievable catches, going to the ground. He looked athletic as everything, and it was such a good season.
Oh yeah, I got
the juice, Rice. Man. That's the juice that Favre will bring, because that's like when people go to play with Brady. You know, he gets the best out of him because you're like, yeah, he's my teammate. Like I used to watch this guy on TV. It's like, yeah, dude, get out there and catch.
This is the one I'm most excited for because you guys are either going to get fans or get hated for it. Harrison Smith.
Overrated. Because we're all ready to put him in the Hall of Fame. And we've been ready to put him in the Hall of Fame for a while now. And I still don't quite know if Harrison makes that.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm going underrated because he's been one of the best for so long. And I get like the last year, maybe year or two, it's been a little bit less than what we're used to. But he was never claimed by all the media that he was the best safety in the league, and I think that's bullshit. And he played. This is playing in an era with like Cam Chancellor and those guys. It's like, no, this dude's legit, and he would be a starter on all 31 other teams. And
part of that is being the best player on some bad Vikings teams.
Yeah,
where it's just like you just don't get the media recognition. I'm just saying, Ring of Honor for the Vikings. Yeah, are we Hall of Fame? I don't know how he's viewed outside of Vikings fandom. I don't know.
So he has 29 interceptions, 16 and a half sacks, and 4 touchdowns, which is wild. That's cool.
All right, so let's go to the last player on this list. And he's given us some really good highs. Interceptions, pick sixes, some nice hits. But he's also given some great lows, and it's Anthony Barr.
Overrated.
He was underrated as a Viking. I don't think he ever got enough credit for as good as what he was. He was maybe played a little out of position by Mike Zimmer. He would have thrived in this 3-4 defense.
I would have loved to have seen him in a 3-4.
Stand-up linebacker. He was good. He was better than what Vikings fans give him credit for.
And finally, the fun one, because there's always got to be a fun one, right? Victor the Viking.
Underrated. He's better than Ragnar for sure. Ragnar drove me nuts. I'll take some Victor the Viking. Yep. Kind of generic, but you know what? That's okay.
The way he interacts with kids at training camp is amazing.
Yeah.
And he does the whole non-speaking thing like mascots usually do. So animated. He never seemed creepy. Which if you're a huge, mascot in a suit and you're always hanging around the cheerleaders and all that kind of stuff, there's that point where you might look a little creepy at times, but I never got that vibe.
I'm glad he's not that weird thing they have in Kansas City.
The rat?
I'm glad we don't have one of those. Victor's fine.
You know what's funny? We were talking about this earlier because I'm drinking out of the Panther Cup again. Second time I brought up Robbie Anderson on the show. There's a great highlight of him as a Panther. He was like, what's that bear over there? He's like, the bear? That's a panther. His name's Sir Purr. He goes, oh, you call him that? He goes, no, that's his name, Sir Purr.
Yeah.
And he had to explain to him what it was. And I was like, bro, did your agent like not tell you a little something about where you were going? He called it bear. Like, yeah, the Carolina Black Bears. That's what it is.
Oh, man.
This guy. Oh, man.
Yeah, Victor, though, is always so active with charity events, training camp with kids and everything. I love all that for him. He's active. He's one of those mascots that you actually see, and you're like, well, that's the Viking.
Yeah.
Here's one more. Matt Asiata.
He was a little underrated as a Viking.
He was a bowling ball. I like bowling balls. I'll say underrated. Come on,
Here's
Adam,
one
do
for
it.
you.
Do
Here's
it.
one for you, Adam.
Do it.
Gus Farrat.
Oh, Gus Farrat's always underrated.
Yeah, he was.
Except for when he's, celebrating touchdowns. He should calm down there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, when he's playing, he was that hard-nosed veteran that you knew could step in. Sometimes he'd give you the game of his life. Sometimes he would struggle immensely, but you always knew that you were getting Gus Farrat.
He was like poor man's Brett Favre.
I was about to say, Phillip Rivers? Question mark.
Phillip Rivers is overrated.
No, I'm saying that's
who
he
Michael
described.
Cambria says that Victor's overrated? I'm interested to hear why.
Victor, are you talking about Victor the Viking or Gus Farrat or Matt Asiata? Michael, let us know in the comments because we bounced around there.
But I guess we'll close this out by mentioning a little bit of WWE news. No, not that news. Not that one. The one about Roman Reigns signing a contract that makes it so that he will not have to appear on as many episodes of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. He doesn't have to appear on all pay-per-views. He's going to be appearing much, much less often, but he's still maintaining the title. So we're expecting that Brock Lesnar will make an appearance sometime. We're expecting that Roman Reigns will remain with the bloodline and do his thing. So we'll have to wait and see. I can't make out what that emote is.
It looks like Michael Jackson eating popcorn.
Oh, no. But it's always nice to have people here from Twitch. Thank you for coming here, Silky Johns.
Oh, Michael says he was talking about Matt Asiata. Clifford, we're not going down this road because that...
Don't worry, Clifford. We're going to have more of this. I enjoyed this.
I don't want to talk about Blair Walsh.
Matt Blair?
But yeah, Clifford, that's exactly what he's getting is the Brock Lesnar treatment, which for the two former Vikings making their way to WWE to get these contracts where they're performing so incredibly well that they pretty much get a blank check to show up every once in a while. It says so many great things for what they've done. But that's all I have for this week's show. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. We're inching closer to training camp, guys. July will be here before you know it. We're already halfway through June. So things are going to get spicy soon.
Keep an eye out, 6 a.m. I'll have a new article coming up over on the Viking Age. It will be about some players from the Mike Zimmer era of the Minnesota Vikings that this 2022 Vikings roster would desperately need and could help out quite a bit.
I like that.
It's a fun idea.
It spans a lot of players.
But yeah, we got the Viking Age. That's where I do most of my writing over there. I'm actually covering the site today. Thank goodness there was no major Vikings news. So big thumbs up there. Over on Undead Walking, I do an article or two every once in a while. You might be watching this on Twitch, especially if your handle is Silky Johns, because he's here and it's great to have. But I also do horror movie reviews here on Twitch sometimes. And I also do a little bit of Overwatch. Maybe I'll try to sprinkle in some Apex Legends or something. But I can only really do it when the weather's nice because I have satellite internet. So I'll just wait and see.
Kyle West.
Eating.
Oh, here you go. Silky John says hello. Kyle West is eating, but he has social media. You should follow him there on Vaguely Square.
Yes, you should.
Interesting Twitter takes and Instagram stuff. And you can buy stuff from Kyle West here. It's pretty cool.
The website is pinned to the top of our Facebook page. So if you want to buy some pretty cool stuff, it doesn't have to be Vikings related. There's lots of great nature pictures and stuff you can put on you put on your wall as artwork. You can buy it on a pillow or a shower curtain, anything you really want. I mean, just go over, take a look, see what you like.
Hell yeah. And if you guys want to stalk me, I'm not very interesting, but we'll do some music covers and dog stuff. And that cool child that I made, he's pretty awesome too.
You guys start putting some of your songs up on the YouTubes.
I know. God,
and going live on the Twitches. And
I'm so lazy.
And on TikTok, live on TikTok, man. Play a song, lazy. Talk for about 5 minutes, play another song. People love that stuff.
Oh, it's true. I'll give it a try on the old talk. It's almost like I need a StreamYard or something like that just to go to everything. It's weird.
Right? It's a tough program to find, but you'll find one. But I do want to thank everyone who joined us here in chat, because this show is so much more fun with you here with us. We appreciate that so huge. And we are available to stream pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. I'll have this one up, I believe, probably sometime tomorrow over on, I believe it's, I'll put it on Podomatic, then it'll stream over to iTunes and Google Podcasts and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So keep an eye out for it over there. Otherwise, you can find the entire catalog of Purple People Podcast episodes on YouTube. And I don't know if I'd recommend going back too far, but they are there if for some reason you want to watch them.
You can go clear back and listen to us be like, guys, Christian Ponder is going to take the next step.
All he's got to do is put it all together, and it's going to be good.
Just go to the years where the Vikings went to the playoffs. It's much more manageable. 2019 was good. 2017 was good.
I bet the episode after the miracle was probably a good one.
I was just thinking how shitty it was after the NFC Championship game that year. We were so bummed.
I'm still pissed about that.
After the Joe Webb playoff start?
Oh, gross.
Some of the episodes that we had to push our way through, oh, man, I'm glad we did. But, man, there were some lows after the Josh Freeman game.
Were we recording when the Metrodome roof fell in?
We sure were.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, it was rough.
Long time ago. That's one.
We're closing in on an hour, so I think we're going to call it good. Thanks again to everyone that joined in. And remember, stay classy, Minnesota.